welcome to Africa Business Channel. This is episode 2 of building a billion-dollar business in Africa. Now, before we jump into this episode, let me ask, if you have not subscribed to this channel, we ask that you do so. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us a lot. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is to like the video. You know, when you watch a video and you don't like the video, you're telling YouTube, this video doesn't matter. And I'd like to think that this video matters to you and to the people that matters to you. So please like the video. And then finally, I'm going to ask you to share the video. You know, sharing is caring, and you never know who you share this video to. It might help somebody who's going through or who's thinking of starting a business, but is having challenges. And this video could be the video that helps them overcome that. So again, like, share, and subscribe. So let's get into the video. In this episode, we're going to talk about the steps that you have to take to build a billion-dollar African business. The first one is, where does the idea to start a billion-dollar business come from? Where do you get the idea? Typically, the ideas come from seeing a situation, seeing a need, seeing a circumstances that they believe they have a solution for. So the ideas come from all kinds of triggers in your life. It could be a job you're on, and the job is not, you see a need that nobody's fulfilling, and you say, look, I think if I were to start a business in that area, I could fulfill that need. However you come across the idea, whether you have had it for 20 years, 30 years, and you have delayed it for a very long time, there are a couple of things that we're going to address. The first one is, now that you have this great idea, usually the idea comes with a lot of excitement, and that's perfectly understandable. So, in your excitement, what do most people do? What do most of us do? Well, the minute we get this brilliant idea, we want to pitch it to somebody. We want to sort of have them as a sounding board. That first instinct is not necessarily the best one. Why do I say that? So let me give you a simple example. Suppose you have this idea. You're walking one day and you see that a particular thing was missing, and you say, look, you know what? I think I could build something like that. Here's the thing. Any business that you're going to do is going to have challenges. But here's what happens. So, you know, excitement, you tell your friend. So typically humans, what we do is we look at a situation and we see challenges. We actually see the challenges most of the time before the benefit. And if you were to go out and just tell somebody about something that you've just sort of realized, their natural instinct is to sort of poke holes in it. Now imagine you have a brilliant idea, or a brilliant idea came to you, and you just point it out to somebody. And they start to poke holes in it. Here's what's going to happen. For many people, that's where the idea dies. You know why? Because you have not had time enough to explore the idea and to do your homework. And you're not in a position in most of the cases to counter the narrative that they are giving you. And it's not that they're trying to be bad people. It's just the human nature. When you see something, you know, your brain tells you, wait, this is going to be difficult. And so it's the easiest thing to vocalize, right? And so that's what they're going to do. But the point is, keep it to yourselves, because as long as you have it to yourself, no one is going to put a negative in your ears except you. When we had the idea of building Kubwa, we never said anything to anybody. Because at that time, had I gone and said anything to anybody, they would have said, look, there's no African Continental Free Trade Agreement. There's no this, no that. So they would have killed the idea, essentially, is what I'm saying. And I would have had nothing to counter it. Point number 2, you're going to have to do some homework on the idea. You're going to have to start to develop the idea some more. That is to say, you're going to have to do some research. And by research, I don't mean you go to the library and have to dig up, which might be what you have to do. But the point is, you want to educate yourself on the idea. You want to look around to see who's doing this idea. Is there anybody doing this idea? Can I even go talk to these people? Are they in my circle? Is there anybody around who's doing something like this? And, you know, one thing I will tell you, people, especially successful people, want to tell you about their success. And if somebody's doing something like what you're doing, may not necessarily be the exact same thing, it's worth your while to have a conversation with them, because they will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, but they're going to give you the full thing. But you can see them as a success, so you know they've overcome. So even though they may bring up some of the negatives, the point is just their existence and still being in business tells you that they are at least somewhat successful, or maybe very successful. So that's the counter to any negatives you might get from them. So let me jump on to this thing about confidence. You hear people talk about confidence. What exactly is confidence, right? Some people say confidence might be arrogance and they mix it up. But let me describe to you what I mean by confidence. Confidence is the ability in yourself that if something is needed with respect to the business you're trying to create or build, you will go out and you will tirelessly work at it until you get that thing or get that knowledge. That is what confidence is. I am a pilot. Before I took my first solo flight, I thought I could fly the plane. I had confidence that I could fly the plane by myself. So when my instructor said to me, look, I'm going to get out of the plane and you're going to be the one to fly it and make a couple of touch and goes. You land, take off, basically. That's what I call a touch and go. At that point, I had to say to myself, look, the training that you have is what you're going to have to rely on. That is your confidence. And I'm saying to you, the same way, that confidence, when I took that plane off, when I ran it down the runway and took off, that was the confidence that brought me back down so I can speak to you today. And I'm saying you can get the confidence. Confidence is not some bravado. Don't mix up confidence with bravado. Confidence is the ability for you to go get whatever is necessary so you can accomplish the thing that you set out to accomplish. That is what confidence is. Okay? So, especially for young folk who want to build a business, who want to build $1 billion business, the bigger the dream, the more confidence you have to have. And what did I say confidence was? The preparation. The preparation. That is what confidence is. Bravado is foolishly thinking that I don't have to practice flying the plane and think I'm going to fly the plane. That's bravado. That's foolish. That's madness. That's not what we're talking about. The next word I want you to actually focus on is commitment. Commitment says I am going to stick with something to the very end. That is what commitment is. I'm going to stick to it till I get the result that I set out to get. Young Americans believe they can build Facebook, the next Facebook. Young Americans believe they can build the next Instagram. Young Americans believe they can be the next Bill Gates. Young Americans really believe that stuff. And because they believe that stuff, you know what happens? It spurs them on to try to do it. Yeah, it spurs them on. What you believe will dictate the actions you take. Now, young Africans, I have a question for you. Do you believe you have what it takes to build $1 billion business? Is the obstacles in Africa so big that you cannot possibly build $1 billion business? The answer should be, you can build $1 billion business. Young Americans who are looking to build business do not see YouTube as YouTube. They see it as a money-making venture. Any kind of technology, they see it as a money-making venture. But you know, in Africa, there are so many ways to become wealthy and create millions of jobs. Africa needs a lot of products and services. The vast majority, I am going to say, manufactured goods, some 80% comes from overseas and maybe more, depending on the country. That is a perfect recipe for you to build something in your country to replace those things. Not only will you create jobs for your country, but you'll go and you'll create a massive business that others can emulate. Because young Americans believe that it's their birthright to be able to build the next Facebook or build the next big billion-dollar business. What gives them that right? And what prevents you from having the same right? Is there something in the water they drink that you don't have in your water? Do they have 4 heads and 16 arms? In other words, God gave them more than He gave you. No, He did not. In fact, you have some massive advantages because you have more raw material and resources than any other continent. In fact, Africa has more raw materials, I would say almost as much as the rest of the continents combined. Almost as much. So you've got a massive advantage. Now you have to take that advantage you have and believe in yourself. You truly have to believe in yourself. You have to believe it is your right to start this business. It is your right to grow this business into a billion-dollar business. It is your right to sell across borders. Because to grow your business to the size we're talking about, you're going to probably have to sell across borders. Okay? So it's your right. Those rights are not given to you by man. Those rights are given to you by God. The ideas you have are not given to you by man. They're given to you by God. So only God alone can take it from you. Therefore, you have a right to believe you can do this, and you have a right to pursue it. Along the way, some people will try to stop you or whatever the case may be, but you march on nevertheless. You keep marching, keep marching, keep marching, keep marching. They can't stop you forever. So, the confidence and the commitment is critical. And that comes from the belief that the right to build a big billion-dollar business is as yours as it is a young American. If you already have a business and you never thought of making that business a billion-dollar business, you can. Remember what I said in the prior episode. And if you haven't watched that, please go back and watch episode 1. The size of a business is just a matter of scaling. If you have started a business already, you're ahead of the game. Welcome. Good for you. Now you're going to work with us as we go through this series to take that business you have and make it a billion-dollar business where you sell across borders. Okay? In this series, we're going to go through all the steps you need as much as we can so that you can, along with us, build together the business that God has put on you to build. Let me once again ask, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps us a lot. Please like and share this video. Like the video. You know, if you don't like the video, YouTube is going to say this video is not important. I like to believe the video is important. So please, it will help us a lot. In the next episode, we're going to work on actually getting started. So please join us in the next episode. Thank you for watching.